Me and my two partners, Bridget and Bethany, are going to talk to you about stress. What stress is, the causes, the effects of the body, and the effects on the immune system, and both defensive and active ways to cope with it. What is stress? Stress is arousal of one's mind and body in response to the demands upon them. And stress isn't always a bad thing. There's both good and bad stress. So let me talk to you about the types of stress. Um, Not all stress is bad. Stress can increase sharpness and motivations, and it keeps you alert. And that kind of stress is called eustress, and that's the positive stress. But for all the negative stress in your life, that's called distress, and that's linked to pressure, anxiety, and it could have severe psychological and physical effects on you. So I'm going to talk to you about the sources of stress. The most common source of stress is frustration. So if you're getting mad at someone, that's going to cause more stress than any other. There's also daily hassles as doing your work at school, having homework to do, and just the regular thing you have to deal with on a daily basis. Life changes is a big one, which is for high schoolers, it would be in seniors in specific, where you're getting ready to graduate, you're trying to apply to colleges, or for someone who moves schools, so they have to move houses. Say your parents got a different job, and they got to move. Going from that would be a source of stress, and also it could be a divorce in your family and conflict. Conflict doesn't have to necessarily be within you and a person. It could be within yourself, with your family, friends, or any relationships. So the responses to stress. There's the self-efficacy expectation, and that's how you see and how you think you could, how you reach your goals. There's psychological hardiness and there's sense of humor. Well, for sense of humor, if you're in stress, you're gonna find everything fun. You're gonna find everything funny, trying to remove the stress, trying to get a laugh in to relieve stress. There's also predictability and social support, where you always believe that there's someone there with you, that you always got that one person. So, and I'm about to talk about the physical effects of stress. So, the general adaptation syndrome is, it doesn't matter what kind of stress it is. It could be a physical, it could be a threat, it could be something in your mind, something emotional, financial. It doesn't, like, the problem doesn't matter. Your body's going to respond in the same way. And this theory was brought about by Hans Selye. And the first stage is the alarm reaction. And the alarm reaction is when this reaction is set off, your body mobilizes for defensive action. So it's realizing that there is stress, and it's telling you what the stressor is, which is the thing that causes it. Once the alarm reaction mobilizes the body, and if the stressor is still not removed, they enter the resistance stage, where they do what they can to not get as stressed as as they could be. They try to calm down, and they try to do things that will remove their mind from the stress. And the final stage is the exhaustion stage. If the stressor is still not removed by the resistance stage, one will begin to get exhausted. The capacity to resist stress is different between persons. So you may have more stress than, say, your brother or sister, but you may have less than someone else. So it varies among people, but everyone's eventually going to get exhausted if it's not, if the stressor is not removed by the resistance stage. So the effects on the immune system. So chronic stress suppresses the activity of the body's immune system, and the stress produces steroids in your body, which affects the antibodies, which are very crucial for fighting off the germs in your immune system in your body. The defensive ways of coping with stress. One is substance abuse. So people believe that drinking or doing drugs is gonna reduce stress. They're gonna say it's gonna it's gonna make them feel more calm. It's gonna remove it. Once they do it once, they're gonna be fine. And for some, it may work, but it's just holding it off. It's not gonna be a permanent thing. And another defensive way is aggression. Some people use aggression and violence to cope with the stressful situations. For those, they'll get mad when they get stressed, and they're going to use it to cope with. They're going to use it to cope with stress, but they're going to be frustrated more easily, even if it's just like a difference of opinion within each other. Some people withdraw from stressful situations because they're frightened. They think they're worthless. They don't see point in. They don't see a purpose in their life, and they believe that everything they do is a mistake. And so, the ultimate form of this withdrawal is suicide. And some people believe they have so much stress in their life that there's nothing going good for them. That it's not going to get better. They have no purpose. They believe that the best way is to commit suicide. That they believe that that's the only way out. And Sigmund Freud believed in defense mechanisms, which protect the ego from anxiety that may be produced by an awareness of unacceptable ideas. So Sigmund Freud believed this, and it's a defensive way of coping with stress, along with the rest of substance abuse, withdrawal, suicide. And so there's also active ways of coping with stress. For example, changing stressful thoughts. A very simple one is if your thoughts are stressing you out, change them. Don't think about things that are stressing you out. Try to think of something calming. And people who have stressful thoughts can learn to recognize and change them before becoming overwhelmed by them. And relaxation is the probably the best one for me, in my opinion. It helps lower stress in the body by reducing muscle tension. So simply laying down, listening to music, and for some people, it's exercise which fosters physical health, enhances people's psychological well being, and helps people cope with stress. So, just taking a jog or any exercise you want to do is an active way of coping with stress. All three will reduce stress, and it'll help. Just laying down, thinking of something calming, taking a jog. So, that's our PowerPoint on stress. Hopefully you learned something and thank you.